Are you ready for our next adventure? Let's head over to Furniture Fairy Falls in Fitchipelago and see where the fairies are sprinkling their magic this week. Tales of the Furniture Fairies. Fairy Flight Adventures. Part 1. Choo, Chattanooga. Deep calls to deep at the sound of your waterfalls. All your breakers and your waves have rolled over me. Psalm 42:7. Chapter 4. Woods to Waterfalls. In our last episode, "Great job, team!" Bloom commended her friends. "Yay! We prevailed over Moby Fitch!" Ruby said excitedly.
That was amazing,
Zach said, impressed.
To think, I was so intimidated by it, but together we can tackle anything,
He said with a big smile before he glanced toward the vacant wall.
Is it just me or does that wall look blank?
Zach asked. They all laughed. So with a wink and a nod and a wish-wash whoosh, a piece of wood from Furniture Fairy Falls suddenly appeared in front of them. "Ooh, wood!" Ruby cooed. "What's this for?" she asked. "I had an idea when Zach was staring at the blank wall. Let's make him a special sign to remember us by," Bloom suggested.
That sounds awesome!
Zach cheered. "Ooh, how about we make something featuring Chattanooga?" Ruby suggested.
I love it here.
Zach said enthusiastically. "And let's not forget our hike through the forest to get here," Ruby and Bloom laughed, remembering their sneaky trek through the forest.
The hiking is great!
Zach said, not realizing what they were thinking and giggling about.
And the food here is incredible.
He added,
I'm always finding great new places to take friends when they visit.
So yesterday, I didn't get a chance to video it, but I took those boards that I've been recovering from job sites and stuff, the burn piles I get, and cut them into boards so I can make some shiplap style signs. So my husband actually cut these up for me. These are all 25 inches, and then these were the leftovers. He cut them to, I think these are like 22 or something. And so I'm gonna show you how you do a glue up to make your own shiplap signs.
"The first thing I like to do is lay the boards out to see how I want them to meet each other. Then I go and do the glue up on both sides. Some people say you only need a glue on one side, but I like to have a full glue and let that squeeze out fill in some of those gaps. As a matter of fact, in a second, after I use the clamps to secure them together, you'll notice I put a little extra glue and then some sawdust in to fill in any holes that might be there. And this just gives us a full look of the sign. You can still have the rustic feel, but you can't actually see through it. So I'll do a light sanding after it's dried, and then I take my mister bottle and will wet the surface. And you'll see I like to use the Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint, but there's the misting bottle, and I'm doing a dry brush over the top of it. So you want to just texture it enough so you're getting the look a bit rustic and some paint. You can't tell if the paint came or it's worn off or what's happening, but it just gives you that really nice warm feel. You'll just want to add coats on until it meets your specifications. Now, this sign has a little bit of a story to it. I actually did this piece for my son for Christmas. We seem to have lost the footage for the other sign. This is actually a double-sided sign I made for him. I made the one side for Christmas, and it says, "I'm dreaming of a Chattanooga, Tennessee Christmas." And the other side is the one we're talking about here in the video. And for some reason, I don't know if we lost the footage or what happened, but you can at least see the process here. Instead of using regular vinyl, I actually used iron-on vinyl, and I am ironing that on to get it to connect. And I made a mistake and used a different brand than I usually use of the vinyl, and had some issues, and possibly because of the paint and stuff underneath. Usually I don't have a problem, but I used Mod Podge here to make sure I could get all those individual pieces sealed down, and it ends up looking fantastic after the fact. But I will tell you, use the right vinyl and you won't have these kind of problems. And again, the Mod Podge seals it all in to make sure that it doesn't doesn't lift up later. I also sealed it with polyacrylic afterwards. But that's the one side that he got for Christmas. And when you flip it over, you'll see the the Chattanooga, and we have a nice quote on there that refers to all the stuff that went on during the visit as well. So this one doesn't have the white paint. It's got the rustic vibe, but then again, he can flip it over for Christmas, and he's already got some decorations going.
Wow, now it really feels like home.
Zach said while admiring the sign they made.
It actually makes me want to go out and explore Chattanooga.
Zach said excitedly. Oh, I can show you both a very special place where my name came from, Ruby said excitedly. That's perfect, Ruby. It would be a nice break now that we've finished all the tasks on the list, Bloom replied.
So what are we waiting for? Let's go.
Zach cheered as they made their way out the door. We're here! Ruby exclaimed, showing them the outside of a beautiful place called Ruby Falls. There's so much to see here. We just need to check in at the table inside.
Oh no!
Zach exclaimed at the end of Ruby's sentence.
The table! I forgot to add the table to the list. I put it together myself, but it didn't work as well as I'd hoped. I could really use your help with that before you leave.
No problem, Zach, Bloom replied. But first, let's enjoy Ruby Falls. Yay! We're in! Ruby Falls has always been a magical place that people visit here in Chattanooga. My parents used to tell me bedtime stories about it.
Before it was discovered, Ruby Falls was part of one of the longest show caves in America called Lookout Mountain Cave. For many kids in Chattanooga, it was like their playground. So when its natural entrance got closed one day, many were heartbroken, including one kid named Leo Lambert. When Leo grew up, he never forgot his dream of getting into the Lookout Mountain Cave again. So he worked hard, gathered investors, and started drilling the cave. That's when they plunged into a void that led to the breathtaking place that he would later name after his wife Ruby, Ruby Falls. This was the start of the adventure, but they still had to get into the cave. Leo and his partner took on the challenge. They crawled the wet passages slowly while enduring the cold and pain. As you can see, the passageway is not only narrow, but it's also very low. So they had to keep crawling with their elbows and knees for about 3 hours until they arrived. It's now called Leo's Passage because this is the point where they finally entered the cave and could stand after several hours. All in all, it took Leo and his partner 17 hours to get in and out of the cave. Their story is one that proves faith and determination surely paid off. It took many years for Leo's beautiful dream to come, but just like the stalagmites and stalactites that form from drops of water over long periods of time, it was worth it.
Now you know where I got my name, but let me tell you why. For 5 years, my parents tried to have a baby and were unsuccessful. My father heard stories of how this place inspired hope. He took my mother here, but didn't have a coin to throw in and make a wish. But they saw a stack of colorful pebbles and threw them into the falls, wishing to be blessed with a beautiful baby. Shortly after, I was conceived, so they called me Ruby. Their hope was restored, and they kept a special bag of stones as a reminder to never lose hope again. What a beautiful story to match such an incredible place, Ruby, Bloom said, and Ruby smiled from ear to ear.
That's very inspiring, Ruby.
Zach exclaimed.
I'm wondering, does Furniture Fairy Falls look like this too?
He asked. Furniture Fairy Falls is just as beautiful, but it's outdoors. Let me show you, Bloom said with anticipation. Bloom sprinkled some of her fairy wishes into the water, and suddenly they could see Furniture Fairy Falls and the fairies flying around finding furniture. Wowza! Are those the other furniture fairies? Ruby asked excitedly while waving at them. Yes, Ruby, that is them, but they can't see you. I do have a surprise for you, though. You've done such an excellent job helping with all these projects that I have a special gift for you," Bloom said as she pulled out a small pouch of fairy wishes. "If you sprinkle these once, you can get a quick glimpse of what we're doing over in Furniture Fairy Falls. But if you sprinkle them twice, a magic portal will open for a few seconds so you can transport yourself there whenever you need us," Bloom explained. "So I can actually communicate with HQ without having to send you a door?" Ruby asked aloud, making everyone laugh. "Yes, Ruby, you can contact us anytime without sending a door," Bloom answered humorously and then added, "But now you can actually come visit whenever you like. But you must take very good care of these, Ruby," Bloom gently warned and could tell Ruby understood. Speaking of doors," Ruby paused as she saw a help message descend through Furniture Fairy Falls. "You should make portals in other locations too, so we can expand the Furniture Fairy network," Ruby suggested excitedly. "That's a great idea, Ruby, but first we need to help Zach with his table," Bloom replied. "Okay, back to Zach's," Ruby said, smiling at her rhyme. I am really proud of my son. He purchased his home in Chattanooga and saw a table the previous owner had and wanted to replicate it himself. So he went to Home Depot, he got some boards, and without any experience in woodworking at all, put that table together. Now, the table is massive, and if you know anything about wood, you know that a massive structure like that, we have to have something attaching the boards together and giving it structure as well as making sure that it stays level. And that's the project that we're working on today. Fitch tip: ask your local big box store for their dunnage blocks. They're solid wood, and because they usually throw them away, they often give them to you for free. The table needed a strong framework to connect everything together and keep it structurally secure. I drew up the plans, measured and cut the boards, checked it for square, and screwed it together. Unfortunately, this was my last day there, and I had to leave the framework there for him to attach to the tabletop and to move the hairpin legs inside the apron to give it more stability. After that, all he would have to do is trim the uneven edges, sand, and seal his first wooden masterpiece.
Thanks, Bloom and Ruby. I can take it from here.
Zach said confidently.
I appreciate all the help you gave me. Now I can really enjoy my new home.
He continued. No worries, Zach. The Furniture Fairies are always ready to help, Bloom replied. Speaking of which, I've got to get back to Furniture Fairy HQ to help out. Sure, Bloom. We'll walk you back to your train, Ruby said. No need, Ruby, Bloom said with a smile. It's already waiting for me outside. Zach and Ruby rushed outside and were pleasantly surprised to see the train hovering above the ground. I have a surprise for you too, Zach, Bloom said as the tools they used appeared before them. Keep these to continue on with the good work here in Chattanooga.
Wow, that is awesome. Please let me know if I can ever be of help to you and the other Furniture Fairies,
Zach said as he waved goodbye to Bloom. Me too, yelled Ruby as Bloom boarded the habit train. Don't be surprised if I call on you for another adventure, said Bloom as the train departed. And with a wink and a nod and a wish-wash-whoosh, tune in to the next episode to find out what new tales the fairies have to tell. Follow us for more adventures on our social channels at Furniture Fairy HQ. And help support the You Are Enough Global Initiative by checking out our Amazon store and the links below. Until next time, remember, you are enough, just the way you are. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any future fairy adventures.